Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to Where's the Female Bill Gates? How many of you are female tech entrepreneurs? Anybody thinking about becoming a female tech entrepreneur? Yes? Okay. So not everything is man-made. Society plays a role in media in showing only man-made things in technology and innovation. They never show innovations that's made by women. And there is no poverty of innovation from women in any industry of business or technology. So not everything is man-made. And I'm going to discuss with you why we haven't seen the female Bill Gates. So where's the female Bill Gates? So anybody know what Poshmark is? Heard of Poshmark? So I met Manish at an event, and ideas and innovations are distributed equally, but opportunities and investments are not. The reason that we don't see the female Bill Gates or the female innovators and inventors in any industry is because of funding. So this is me. I took a picture with Manish. Manish raised $47.2 million. And at one point, which I'm still focused on this innovation, I was trying to become the Facebook of the beauty industry. And I couldn't get any investment. So you would think if somebody was pitching, I used to go to pitch competitions all over the world. You think if somebody was pitching, Mark Zuckerberg dropped out of college. Facebook is worth all these hundreds of billions of dollars now. You think if somebody came up and they were pitch competition and they want to hear innovation. Beauty is one of the richest industries in the world. Women are the #1 consumers. So I'm pitching, I'm going to be the Facebook of the beauty industry. Your beauty, your lifestyle, love it and be social. You know, that was the name of it, Beauty Book Social. And the tagline was your beauty, your fashion, your lifestyle, love it and be social. And there was more to it to that. But I'll get back to this innovation later. So there are structural and institutional biases that allow men to raise millions of capital for female-focused businesses. Poshmark is a female-focused business. And you have women who are launching female-focused businesses because women are the #1 consumers and they can't raise any money. So VC funding for women is less than 3%, and it's been like that for decades, year after year. So Melinda Gates, she's starting to get into the supporting women in tech and, you know, trying to close the venture capital gap. And because women-led tech companies need more funding, and she's putting her money where her mouth is, and we all should be putting our money where our mouth is, because when we support female tech entrepreneurs, that will increase the percentage of female tech entrepreneurs. So everybody's saying there's not enough women in tech, but if we support and invest in the female tech entrepreneurs, they'll hire women, and that'll scale the numbers of women in tech. So last year, women received $1.5 billion in funding, and one company received $1.6 billion in funding. So basically what venture capital industry is saying is one male brain is worth more than the entire female entrepreneur ecosystem. And that's why we don't see a female Bill Gates or a female Steve Jobs or a female Bezos. So when VC ignores women startups, we all lose. The economy loses, everybody loses. Where's the female Bill Gates? There are over 10 million women in business and 126 million women entrepreneurs globally. there has to be a female Bill Gates in all those women. There has to be. They're not supported, they're not valued, they're not invested in. So do anybody know any female substitutes that you would consider that could potentially be a female Bill Gates? Nobody? Anybody close? Do anybody know any female tech innovators or inventors? Well, yeah, she's a tech CEO, a CEO of a tech company. So when the topic of technology leaders come up in society, one of the first names that always comes to mind is Bill Gates. So that's why I use where's the female Gates, because we have to find the female Bill Gates. So there's no poverty of innovation from women in business and technology again. Does anybody know any of these women? Has anybody heard of any of these women? Which who? Okay. So there are so many more Sarah Blakeleys. Lisa is an inventor at IBM. Janice owns a multi-billion-dollar talent technology enterprise. Has anyone ever heard of her? So when we have male inventors, they're all over the media. We hear about them 24/7. When you see innovation, do you see women? When they talk about innovation, do they talk about women? So we have to change that. We can't just sit back. There's no poverty of innovation from women in any industry of business or technology. So everybody thinks technology and innovation is a man thing. That those, again, are stereotypes and biases that create those false ideologies. And these innovative women have proved it. Has anyone heard of Kaz Lasserow? Diane Green? All of these women sold their companies for lucrative amounts of money, and most people, when I speak, they never heard of them. Every time you see a tech startup by a man sold, we hear it all over the news. Am I right? Yes? So women are the mothers of innovation. So Damon John was here yesterday, and I've heard his story a million times. He, have, spoken at a lot of events, and I took a picture with him at a couple years ago at the Miller Lite pitch competition for startups, Tap the Future, and I'm looking a little shiny there, but I'm looking a little shiny because it was hot. It was hot in the building, and he tells the story about his mother. If it wasn't for his mother, he wouldn't have, produced this $6 billion company in sales. So if the world started supporting mothers, we'll see more innovations, more advances in society. It'll be like a multiplier effect. More problems in society will be solved. And I know that there's a female Bill Gates in that picture. Anyone knows where that picture is from? Where? Exactly. Women own the economy. They just don't use their power. So why haven't we seen a Bill Gates? Anybody have any other ideas in here? No? So media plays a huge role in society's delusions that females aren't innovators. There's a lot of women secretaries who are probably, or really should be, the co-founders of some companies who the idea came from his secretary. So the status quo feels like women are too bossy or too itchy, and they can have small goals but not big ideas and innovations, and they should not aim to be too successful or they'll intimidate males. And women are unicorns, whether you're a secretary or not. Every woman can be an innovator. So I'm going to give you the 5 truths in a short order because, again, we have centuries of ground to make up in 20 minutes. Of the who, what, when, how, and why, that women, we don't see female Bill Gates. The truth number 1 is sexism. Women tech startups are faced with unwanted and inappropriate sexual advances from investors while seeking funding or advice for their businesses or startups. Has anybody been watching the news lately and hear what's going on in the venture capital industry? Truth number 2, only 7% of patents are owned by women. Patents are a crucial part in acquiring venture capital funding because they want to know that your idea is patented, that it's protected. So that's something that people don't know, that also is another barrier that prevents women from getting patents because most women can't afford patents. A lot of men use their funding to pay for their patents. Women are not getting funding, and they have children and all type of costs, and the percentage of women, single households are going up, so they can't afford to pay for patents. So that's another barrier that prevents us from seeing the female Bill Gates. Truth number 3, the venture capital industry. The venture capital industry is behind in women's innovations and including women. Still, 30 years later, they're still behind. And you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So basically, they're leaving $10 trillion a year on the table just because of someone's gender. Women are innovating at alarming rates. And it's long overdue to see what happens when VC and the innovations of women in technology meet. Don't you think so? So a lot of people don't know that corporate venture capital, what I say is corporate venture capital is king and global spending is queen. So we should be merging together because corporate venture capital is funding a lot of the venture capital funds. How many of you know that? So basically, they're kind of working against their number 1 consumers. Because no VC funds, no corporate venture capital, it wouldn't be many VC funds. So truth number 4 is mentors. Women tech startups need mentors whom are investors in the industry who support inclusive innovation. When President Obama was president, he had this pledge where all the VCs in Silicon Valley signed this pledge, this inclusive innovation pledge to say that we're going to support inclusive innovation, which is women and minorities. They just signed the pledge. They didn't do anything. So we need VCs who really support inclusive innovation to start mentoring women tech startups, not for lip service or they want to do it for press, but really don't support inclusive innovation to become mentors so that the percentage of women tech entrepreneurs and startups can increase and the percentage of women in tech can increase. Truth number 5, there's a $10 trillion annual opportunity loss due to the loss of funds to support women startups in technology and every industry of business. This is, comes from the U.S. Census report, not from my own report, the U.S. Census report. And when gender bias is permitted to define who innovates and who doesn't, the global economy loses, women loses, our communities loses, companies loses, and countries lose. So the female perspective in innovation is crucial. How many people believe that? So, instead of going after a $10 trillion opportunity, they would rather tie their hands behind their own backs and just not support new innovation, the most innovative industry in the world. So again, if we want to have more women in tech, it's not enough to just support women engineers and executives. We need to support and invest in women tech founders if we ever want to see the female Bill Gates. The future is female. How many people believe the future is female? Yeah, because I have my female revolution t-shirt on. Tech needs new kind of innovations and new kinds of innovators, the female kind. We've seen enough, we love our tech bros, but women we want to innovate too. We want opportunities too. That's all we want is a fair shot and equal opportunities. And a word to my sisters in business and tech, do not give up on your innovations. Keep your heads as high as your heels and be unstoppable. Because you wear your heels high, keep your heads as high through all the barriers we face in technology. Thank everybody for coming. Thank you.